And here we are for the last best of 5 of this week of the FSL Season 3. We're on Abyssal Reef, spawning to the top left in green. We have our Zerg player Kyuubi. And to the bottom right in purple, it is WyScion. Both players being tight at first place right now. This match will decide who will become number 1 for now. Only 2 more season days remain for the Female League. So early guess and pool build for Kyuubi here, while WyScion goes for a hatch first build. So let's see if Kyuubi will actually be able to deal enough damage in order to make up for her own later hatch that she's probably going to plant down in just a second. And if WyScion can defend against the early aggression to come out ahead economically. There's the base. More workers for WyScion. We'll get an extractor. While both players... Actually, I can activate the music here. So, pool is done. Extractor as well. First fuelings on the move. Let's see if Kyuubi will commit to even more, or if she goes back to droning right behind it, only wanting to pressuring. Yeah, she knows that her opponent will probably have overlords in the usual spots, so she doesn't really want to reveal her links too early on, so she takes the route around the overlords. Will probably catch her opponent off guard, since this overlord just only now arrives and WyScion did not scout at all. So, with a drone, for example. So she will probably not know what's up so far. Is still only producing drones, is now getting burrow. So we might actually see some sort of roach play out there. Okay, so now the first few links are in production, but the first 6 links might actually be able to get at least 1 queen here, trying to move it back a little bit so that the other queen will be able to fire as well. Kyuubi now retreating for a little bit. The first 2 links of WyScion have arrived inside the main base as well. Actually got a Ling there, if I'm not mistaken. So Kyuubi now just has to retreat with most of her links. Cannot really engage anymore into the main base because she knows that her opponent will have links in position by now. So more links in production though. Seems as if Kyuubi wants to go for all-out aggression here. Queen just driving away that pesky overlord that might just spoil her plans. And then we have a roach worm and the evolution chamber in production. Yeah, like I said, with the burrow here, it was pretty clear that roaches were coming up. And we've already seen WyScion using her burrowed roaches very effectively against poison last week. I think it was last week. So, more Zerglings in production. As I said, Kyuubi with pretty much full out all in here. Okay, tries to get inside the main base, tries to actually split the flanks here, to split the fronts, to lure back a lot of these units here, while the rest of the units will come in, especially with the banelings there. And now let's see, I mean, the roach one is done, but WyScion has only now had the chance to at least get 6 of them. The damage dealt by Kyuubi, though, in the meantime, might actually be a little bit too much, though. I mean, the worker account is still intact, which is the really important part, and eventually WyScion can clear up that push here. Might even actually go for a counter push. No, not right now. She wants to gather a few more roaches and get her economy up a little bit better. Before then she will probably move across the map with roaches. So, third hatchery incoming for Kyuubi. Seems as if she wants to stay on mostly lynx, because she knows that it will probably be too late if she tries to get her own roaches only now. So she rather wants to overwhelm her opponent with more and more lynx streaming across the map, which is actually a little bit odd. Don't really know what these lynx are doing here, because there's not really any sort of counter push. Maybe she wants to come in from two different sides, but moving around that far around the map is still pretty odd. Don't know really what was going on there. So might actually now try to move in, but yeah, that's not really the best angle. I think having come in from this part would have been way better though. So still a lot of lynx back here, no Drop-A-Lord. She's just checking the third base over here and will now probably try to get in from the right hand side. We have roaches and queens on hold position, so these lynx will... Oh, actually there's a small little gap here, which is really unfortunate there for WyScion, since now Kyuubi will be able to surround all of these units, killing them off with mostly lynx. There's still a lot of lynx around here, but yeah, she's just waiting for the Drop-A-Lord in order to get those inside the main base, while pressuring a little bit harder on the front. Or at the front, sorry. Yeah, roaches still out. These roaches will be able to kill off these lynx fairly easily. The lynx unload inside the main base, but WyScion might actually even see this on the minimap. Nah, seems as if she didn't. So now the lynx run in, might actually kill off like a few workers here, but will not even get the queen there. 3 workers, not really that much. Still a really big investment though, having all those lynx and also the gas invested into the Overlord. So didn't really pay off for her, but of course she still has her third base secured, is not really doing anything with it though. It's still 35 to 32, so if Kyuubi actually decides to retreat and now just drone up completely, she could maybe even take a lead, but WyScion also knows her stuff, knows that the aggression is almost over and has already started redroning. Or restarted droning, more likely, getting all the good upgrades for the roaches, although there's actually one upgrade for zerglings in there as well. Don't know if that is actually a mistake, getting the melee upgrade. I don't really know. Since she's going for so many roaches, it's a bit odd to go for the melee upgrade. Maybe for the long run, maybe just for later lynx, when she just wants to reinforce these with lynx, because they can cross the map a little bit more quickly, but I mean, the attack speed or the movement speed doesn't really matter as much once the roaches have roach speed. So yeah, fairly odd to see melee attack here. Maybe WyScion can answer in chat why she decided to go for that. So, actually getting a good chunk of workers killed with that link push, but losing almost all of the links in the process. WyScion not moving across the map. Lethal Reconstitution is just about to finish, while Kyuubi had the chance to actually produce a few roaches of her own, while keeping her opponent pinned back with all of the Ling harassment. So, moving in, and all of the roaches trying to get a good flank. Actually a really good concave there for WyScion here. Kyuubi though having a few Ravagers right behind it, and of course the defender's advantage. Her own roaches will just appear at the front way more quickly than those of WyScion. So WyScion on a full out retreat has to move back, even losing a roach in the process, that just get caught up at these rocks here. And while moving around corners, Kyuubi's roaches can still pick away one or two at a time. So Kyuubi now moving around, trying to get into the third base. WyScion knows this, has to move somewhere between the third entrance and the main, or the natural entrance. But of course this would be a really bad place to attack through this choke point here. The concave would be so superior, it's just ridiculous. So no, Kyuubi decides not to attack right now, is waiting for a few more units to come in, will take out that Overlord here with Corrosive Biles. Small little victory though, unfortunately not really has been able to saturate her third base. WyScion has been a little bit more successful with that, so her economy should look kinda a little bit better, well only by a small margin. And only every few seconds here and there, so it's not really a big advantage that she has at any means. But yeah, having the upgrade for melee and the ranged upgrade, but yeah, I mean the melee attack will actually not help her as much. So Breaking through the rocks. We'll try to get into the third base as well, but Kyuubi is expecting that, since it's the obvious target. So some links, a lot of roaches, is already forming a concave. WyScion realizes no way in staying around trying to fight this already prepared army, since it's as large as mine, maybe even a little bit bigger here. So I'd rather return for now, keep these off my butt with the help of some corrosive biles. Might actually want to take a fourth base fairly soon. I mean, the main base is getting low, so is the natural. Well, still looking okay. We still have 16 workers over here. Yeah, perfect saturation just at every base. Very nicely done. Okay, sending in a few links, but they don't really get through in order to scout anything else. Also good saturation at all of Kyuubi's bases. Only a little bit oversaturating this base, but this will end once the extractors pop. So, Kyuubi also sending in a few links she does not really need anymore. So, can free up a little bit of supply, can also send in a few more links, maybe getting a scout, maybe even getting some drones. Sees the spire now, and might actually be aware that some mutas are incoming. Not much anti-air so far for Kyuubi here. She does not have a Hydra den at all. The only thing that can shoot up are the Ravagers with Biles. But in the hands of a good player, Biles will... mutas will never get hit by Biles. So don't really know if this is going to work out at all. Also getting the +2 attack upgrade for ranged units. So let's see what she will actually be able to do against this mutaflock here. More mutas in production. Seems as if WyScion wants to do a kind of a bigger transition to mutas. Probably doesn't want to overcommit in mutas, because if you just have way too many mutas, they become very vulnerable to plays like infestors. And wow, getting a look then right behind it. So just getting all the good tech so that it will be possible for her to eventually transition into everything she wants. While Kyuubi is just struggling to get out some capable anti-air in form of the Hydralisks. Yeah, this fourth base is done, while of course WyScion can take her own uncontestedly, and that is actually the main reason why you get mutas in this matchup, because mutas will just easily allow you to keep your opponent's bases under check and under control, while usually no one can keep you from taking your own expansions. Running in with a small chunk of links here while the army is out of position. Nice plays there by WyScion, tactically spoken. So getting in, killing 16 workers, 17 even. That was really a good attack here. So down to 41 Kyuubi is right now. Just has to pull back all of her army. In the meantime, the Mutalisks just fly in at the fourth base once more. You know, deny that drone there from walking, killing off one Hydra and another Hydra there. Always getting the small chunks, still pretty nicely done. And even these 4 Hydras are done for. So another good catch there for WyScion, because just catching all of these lone Hydras out in the open just makes it so much more difficult for Kyuubi in order to ever move out, because she just does not have any anti-air in significant numbers. Okay, now flying in, yeah, just beneath that Spore Crawler, keeping it a little bit in distance, and yeah, like I said, I mean, WyScion doesn't really want to overcommit in mutas. She knows that that would make her vulnerable to the counterplays. I think that's always a good idea. If you just specialize too much on one unit, you become easily counterable, unless of course your micromechanics are way more superior than those of your opponents, or way more superior to those of your opponents. Then of course you can make it work with just like pure one army or one type army movements. But yeah, a few mutas are good. Having like 30 of them, not always good. Depends on how your opponent is reacting. Getting into the third phase once more with mostly links, and I mean we can really see who's dominating this game so far, since Kyuubi has not had a chance to even attack into any of WyScion's bases for quite some time now. Even getting 4 more kills over here, 6 more kills over here. The third base, or the fourth base, might even get cancelled once more! And that is so annoying for Kyuubi here, because she's still on 3 bases while WyScion has had her own base for quite some time. Now reinforcing with lurkers, and these lurkers might actually seal the deal against the ground forces of Kyuubi, because now, of course, Kyuubi can't even re-attack. Nice little biles there on the burrowing Ravagers. Okay, trying to hit something with biles, but it does not quite work out. Now we have the roaches in front. No more lurkers left though, but of course all this focus firing. Okay, no, never mind, there are 2 of them. And eventually Kyuubi has to give up. WyScion takes the first map. Ascension to Ayur is our second map, spawning to the bottom right in green, it's Kyuubi. And to the top left, our other Lurk player in purple, it's WyScion, who just managed to win a fairly drawn-out macro game on... It was not Odyssey, it was Abyssal Reef. So let's see what these 2 players will throw at each other this time around. Looks like Kyuubi once more wants to go for early Lings, while WyScion again is going for the early hatch, feeling comfortable in taking early hatches, even against a known aggressive player like Kyuubi. So, spawning pool after gas. Kyuubi's spawning pool will be done a lot sooner, so will speed, and she will also be able to mass a lot more Lings in the meantime. So if she really wants to overrun her opponent, it might actually become quite difficult for WyScion to defend against all of this. The question is, how committed will Kyuubi be to her push? 4 Lings in production, plus metabolic boost, quite normal at that point in the game for a pool first opening. Let's see if more Lings are to follow or not. First 2 Lings for WyScion, just the typical safety and scout Lings. More drones behind it. And a few more drones, at least 1 more drone for Kyuubi as well. Base will finish in just a few seconds. And there we have the first few Lings taking the detour route into the main base. Baiting nest is there, the queen will be able to get into a nice little sweet spot there, but of course Kyuubi will be able to at least get 1, maybe another worker here. Yeah, actually will be able. Okay. So, and even running inside the main base, might even be able to get another probe here. So, WyScion just moving around, but Kyuubi's queen is also in position. More and more Lings streaming across the map for WyScion though now, and let's see if Kyuubi will actually be prepared in order to defend this. Her Baiting Nest is already done. Baiting Nest for WyScion will be done in just a few seconds as well. We actually have double Evolution Chamber right behind this, so this really looks as if Kyuubi wants to produce more Lings later on and just upgrade them fairly quickly. So, Metabolic Boost will be done in just a few seconds as well, and here the Lings come. We might actually see some Binding Morse, but there are already some Bindings in place for Kyuubi, and now we will see who has the best, who will have the better micro with Ling Bane. Okay, WyScion moving in, wants to snipe this Binding over here, does not get it. More Lings moving across the map, checking for... Oh no, it doesn't need to check for a third base because the Overlords are in position already. Never mind, more Zerglings in production, and the +1 upgrade for melee and armor as well. Like I said, wants to have heavily upgraded Lings early on, and probably flood her opponents with Lings. But we'll see. Okay, more Lings and Banes moving around. Nothing big has been, or no big hit has been made so far. WyScion taking a third behind it. Kyuubi not trying to take a third. And like I said, she seems pretty committed to her upgraded link push. WyScion also getting the ground carapace upgrade. Still no third. For Kyuubi, the longer she waits with her attack, the more problematic it might get to take her opponent out. But there's a lot of links in the making. Yeah, she has a lot of links and banes, but of course one good baning connection can just ruin the whole day. That's actually a nice move here, trying to flank these Zerglings out. WyScion has to retreat using the long route because she cannot really risk getting all of these lings right into mains. Okay, a few of these units now retreat. We now have a full-blown attack for Kyuubi here, moving across the map with everything, morphing a lot of banes there, even outside the vision range of her opponent, who has not bothered to take one of these watchtowers. Little run-by attempt by WyScion here. So a lot of links now streaming in. Kyuubi has superior link numbers, but like I said, one good bane connection could of course ruin the day. More and more banes running in, and now of course WyScion also realizes this is a shit ton of banes, have to be careful. Do not really want to get in range of these with my main army here. But still, it seems as if Kyuubi might actually have superior numbers here, though bane streaming, only one will arrive at the natural base in order to take out workers there. Kyuubi now running in with all of the links, even morphing a few more banes right in the face of WyScion here. And where are WyScion's units? There are some bane links over here, there are some links over here, but it seems with all in all, Kyuubi just has the overwhelming numbers, will now probably even take out the main nest. No, does not even bother, runs right into the main base, wants to kill the remaining drones, and might actually get a really good hit with all of these banes. GG immediately, and Kyuubi ties the series 1-1. Sequencer is WyScion's choice, and we see her here spawning at the bottom left location. Onto the top right in green, it's Kyuubi, who's just managed to get herself back into this series with a pretty big link flood. So let's see what's going to happen this time around. I guess Kyuubi once more will go for an early gas and pool. WyScion will go for a hatch first. No, hatch first for both players this time around. Okay, it's legit. It's the biggest map in the map pool, so it doesn't really make sense to go for too early an aggressive build when you can just easily get through with a hatch first build on this map. Even against a pool first build, doesn't really matter. Since the distances are so friggin' huge. Although it actually appears bigger than it actually is. So, spawning pool. Well, still. WyScion playing it safe this time around. Does not want to get the gas first, but rather goes into spawning pool first. Our opponent did the exact opposite, going into extractor and then into pool. So, gas coming up. Overlords on the move. So let's see the next decision for these two players. Base done. And base done, so 2 queens of course. First few links for Kyuubi once again, but also 2 defensive, or rather more scouting links for WyScion. Still more droning for WyScion though. Had a few more lava left. And the 2 queens in the making. So speed a lot more quickly, of course, for Kyuubi, since WyScion had waited with her gas for a little bit longer, so it will take a little bit more time in order to gather the 100 gas. which it seems she does not really want to invest into speed that early on. She's floating a lot of minerals. I really wonder what she wants to do with those. Okay, it seems as if she just wants to wall off if need be. Still, floating a lot of minerals and a lot of gas. Not really doing anything with it. Is still droning like crazy. Not getting an early lair with that. So there's the roach horn right behind it. So it seems as if she just wants to transition right into roaches. Skips the ling speed here. And probably just wants to gather some gas up in order to have some gas ready, some more gas ready when she wants to produce her first few roaches. So sends across the map 4 links in order to attack this base over here. She's scouted with the Overlord. While Kyuubi tries to break through this debris in order to get to the other third base that only has 1 gas and less mineral patches. But it might actually suffice for WyScion, who seems to want to go for an all-out roach timing. Once more, fairly interesting, again, getting the melee attack for a potential roach build. I don't know what's up. That's still fairly interesting, though. I really have to ask her what's up with that after the match, because I'm really curious why she goes for +1 melee attack when she wants to go into roaches quickly. Yeah, might even just be a misclick. You never know. I mean, we can always see this little logo above the hatchery, above the Evo chamber. Sorry, but of course, as a player, you just click this once and then forget about it because you think that the right upgrade is researching, while it is not. But normally, you just don't take a second glimpse in order to realize, oh shit, I actually got the wrong upgrade there. I want to have the other one. So finally the links stream in. WyScion has to retreat for now because she does not have that many roaches and does not want them all to get surrounded by the links, but they do. Still, more roaches arrive, and Kyuubi has to be careful not to trade too ineffectively, but she gets the first 4 roaches, might even get... well, okay, will not get that actually, no way there. But of course that was already kind of a good trade, getting all of these roaches against all of these links. But of course now she knows that her opponent is going into roaches. More and more roaches in the making for WyScion. Now finally getting the metabolic boost, just in case her opponent wants to overwhelm her with links once more. She wants to have some speedy links of her own. And not only slow roaches for now. Roach speed not in the making, since she doesn't even have a lair yet. And will probably not get one fairly early. Okay, unfortunately once more all of her roaches get surrounded by all of these links. Still, roaches take some time to get eaten down, but eventually they do. The other roach dies as well, but still, Kyuubi, WyScion just waiting, has to get rid of all of these banelings, but now once the banelings are gone, she can now come in with all of the links. Unfortunately for her, she does not have speed yet, so Kyuubi will be able to just move away fairly quickly and easily. Her opponent, there's nothing her opponent can do because she cannot really chase after those if she doesn't have the quicker units. No saturation whatsoever. Oh no, never mind. No saturation still whatsoever for Kyuubi here. Also, no more saturation for WyScion. Both players just pressing the army buttons in order to churn out more units. Again, Kyuubi getting the good surround with all of the links here, taking out roach after roach, and it seems as if WyScion might have actually miscalculated the success possibility of this strategy here. Loses her third now, while Kyuubi still has 1 up, and this will be fairly difficult to recover from this. I don't know if it's even possible. More and more banelings streaming in. If these banelings get like good connections... well, actually did not. Most of them actually exploded into the roaches and into the banelings, so it seems as if WyScion will be able to hold this push for now. Still, having lost the third base hurts quite a bit, but Kyuubi also has to be careful not to overcommit with her push here. But I mean, okay, there are only small forces over here. She might actually again be able to surround and take them out. Okay, 1 good baneling connection there. Maybe another one even. Yeah, Kyuubi has to be careful with only links and banelings. If these banelings like detonate into the wrong units, yeah, they do. Mostly detonating into the roaches, taking all of them out, but the banelings are just about to morph. Will not. Oh, okay, 1 will morph, but only take out like 3 links here. More and more roaches streaming across the map, but of course the defender's advantage goes with WyScion here. Her own units just arrive at the front so much more quickly. And 26 more links. Kyuubi really wants to break through, does not eventually want to go into the long game. I mean, this base is really lowly saturated. This base is saturated a little bit. So let's have a look at the income tab. I mean, income actually looking a little bit better there for Kyuubi, but not all too much. Now trying to break through the main entrance as well in order to have 2 attack routes to come in from. But, I don't know, might actually be able to take down that third or force a cancel at least. Yeah, we'll do so. Ooh, no cancel even. WyScion forgetting to cancel, so 300 minerals down the drain. And again, it seems as if most of her roaches might actually... Yeah, that was actually a nice move, luring all of these links into the freshly morphing links there. The freshly morphing banelings. So in the meantime, we had a little run by over to the left-hand side, and now links streaming into the base of Kyuubi, taking out a lot of workers in the meantime. So that, of course, should keep her from producing more and more links. And WyScion on the move tries to walk across the map with all of her units here. Not much for Kyuubi to defend. She was having a good time attacking her opponent on the other half of the match, but unfortunately failed to seal the deal and shut her off completely. Nice little baneling connection there, taking out all of the morphing banelings of Kyuubi. And now with her own banelings, roaches, and a lot of links, suddenly the tide has turned, and WyScion will be able to move into the third base and might actually even be able to take it out. Having all of these banelings close to her own army, making sure that it will not be taken out by soul links. And yeah, these links actually will probably never be able to attack. Might actually get all of these banes. Good baneling connection there for Kyuubi here, although she might have actually lost a little bit too many. Now trying to engage once more, but nice flank there by WyScion, getting all of these links into a funnel produced by the links and the roaches. And now a little back and forth fight, but it seems that WyScion just barely has the better numbers, especially the sturdier roaches here, 8 in total now. And yeah, it will be fairly difficult for all of these units to take those out. So WyScion once more sending these links forward, sending a few roaches forward. All of the banelings explode into the roaches, and the roach count just gets higher. Well, not higher and higher, but is still keeping okay while more and more links stream in. Plus a few banelings. Kyuubi has to retreat for now. Doesn't want to fight against these 2 banelings here. While more and more units are incoming. Now entering the natural base. Kind of an okay-ish baneling connection. But now, of course, there might not be enough links left in order to take out this small force here. WyScion trying to retreat towards a wall a little bit in order to not give that much surface area for the links to surround. But eventually it seems that WyScion has managed to whittle down her opponent. Another nice bending connection over there, taking out the remaining links. More links reinforcing WyScion's, Kyuubi's forces here, but I think that should actually be it. More and more links incoming, 12 more in construction, 26 links for WyScion though, who has managed to retake her third in the meantime. And this small little body of roaches always being in front of her main army actually made these traits so much more favorable for WyScion, who's now inside the main base, will take out the queens, thus limiting production G, and WyScion takes the 2-1 lead. Blood Boil is the 4th map. In this best of 5, we have WyScion to the bottom... No, sorry, never mind. We have Kyuubi to the bottom right and WyScion to the top left. Maybe gold cheese? I don't know. We'll see what these players are up to in just a few seconds. It seems like a rather conservative hatch first build, taking the hatch in front of the base. What will Kyuubi do? Kyuubi will go for the gold cheese. So more links for her in the early game, if she does everything right. Extractor also in the making. So yeah, another link flood build for Kyuubi. It worked once, it didn't work twice. Will it work again? Spawning pool right behind it. Sending in 3 workers in order to get the gas up, so that once this spawning pool pops, she'll have enough gas in order to get the speed out. Pooling gas for WyScion as well, but like I said, the non-gold base was taken by her, so the income possibly can be better for Kyuubi here, the mineral income at least, and more minerals means more links. This time around we also see what Lady Ezelis forgot to do early enough at least, which is transferring the drones so that they will arrive just barely before the hatch pops. Actually, usually you want them to arrive right as the hatch pops, but that's just almost impossible to time correctly. So you will either send them down a little bit too late or a little bit too early. So now the income will boost quite a lot, as we can see, almost 200 to almost 300 minerals more, despite having 2 workers less. So that's just what gold minerals do to you, or do for you more precisely. Getting the main nest right behind it, and yeah, like I said, this is going to be a full all-in once more. Burrow again, so I think we can safely say that this time around WyScion definitely wants to go into roaches. But will they be out early enough? This actually seems rather vulnerable, rather fragile here, especially against the gold base build. So WyScion does know about the gold base because of the creep, if she has been carefully watching. Yeah, I think now she's just moved a little bit into check, to really check if that was creep she was seeing there. So now she should know that some sort of gold build is incoming. Zerg playing Gangnam Style. Also just saturating the base, sealing off this area completely. Is there a small gap here where links can get through or not? This is looking... I don't know. We'll see whether this is a small gap or not. First link's already on the move. Might actually want to take out... Oh, want to sneak in from behind, but these rocks have already been taken out, so no success there. And once this extractor finishes, WyScion will even be able to see if links are nibbling away at these rocks or not. So more links streaming across the map, or we're just rallied towards this position. Maybe it's a misrally, maybe it's done intentionally, so that she will be able to hide her links over at that position. So Link's trying to nibble away, and like I said, WyScion is able to see those. Will she send a Link down there in order to shoo these Lings away or not? Taking a third base behind it, and now taking the normal base is Kyuubi. Okay, more and more links in the making. We also get the +1 upgrades, so I think once these upgrades pops at the latest, Kyuubi should move out. But by then, WyScion should actually have been able to churn out quite a satisfying amount of roaches in order to deal with that, especially since most of the units would have to get through this wall, since they... well, I don't know, I mean, if WyScion is actually... is WyScion paying attention? Or does she just not care? I mean... fairly often when you just work around here or just come here for injecting, you should rather hear this, no? Okay, more and more links streaming across the map. Okay, she now has realized what's going on, places a few roaches on top of that ramp, so no way these links will actually get through easily. And links in this choke point will trade fairly badly, especially with so many roaches around. Yeah, that's something that she cannot break through with. And now, of course, you cannot even attack these ice rocks here, because the roaches will be just standing close by. And suddenly, her plans have just collapsed like a card house. Don't know what she really wants to do. I mean, she can't really get through the main entrance. She can't really get through the back entrance. She does not have overlords in order to drop somewhere, and WyScion would even easily see it and send out units in order to greet the drop. So no way she would be able to do that much. The only thing going for her is that she also has a third base and 2 more workers. Upgrades are fairly even. But yeah, I mean, the roaches are just way sturdier than lings, so once these roaches become a great mass, it will be fairly difficult for Kyuubi to hold at her own base. That's why she actually moves out, tries to intercept most of these reinforcements, and now tries to get in. There's a big wide open hole inside WyScion's base, so Kyuubi actually gets in with most of the roaches. At the same time, no counterattack. Roaches mostly trying to fight for their lives in the middle of the map. A lot of roaches have retreated now in order to kill off all of these lings. Kyuubi trying to split up her lings as best as possible to attack at multiple fronts at once. But eventually all of the lings get cleared up, not before 18 workers got killed. So that was a fairly successful run by there by Kyuubi, making the best out of her lings. But of course, I mean, running around the main army can only do you so much good. At some point in time, you will probably just have to face the army. Like now, WyScion does not really care about all these run-bys. She still leaves some units behind. But the main force is just arriving at the third base, and there is so many roaches tasteless. No way for Kyuubi to actually deal with those with pure lings alone. The force is just so big. Even if you manage to surround all of these, you would just need a hell of a lot of lings and only to nibble away all of those, especially with the armored upgrade. And yeah, that doesn't really matter. I mean, Kyuubi might even be able to take out that base, but what does it matter if she will not be able to eventually defend her own? She has 5 spine crawlers here, but even then 5 spine crawlers will not be enough, especially since there's an opening and WyScion could just move past them and then just attack into the main base, where some spine crawlers are also being made. So I mean, she has been able to take out at least some of these forces. WyScion now realizes that there are spine crawlers in the making. They just pop as the roaches arrive, but this base is forfeit. Kyuubi trying to take out more and more units and also more and more structures, but finally her own run-by push gets cleared, and now the roaches are standing inside her base. She doesn't have the necessary army units in order to deal with this, and it seems, ladies and gentlemen, as if WyScion will win the face-off between these two players. Yeah, I mean, there's not much that Kyuubi can do from here on out. 25 supply to 81. GG, well played! And WyScion takes the 3-1 victory.